Hello everyone, welcome back. So today is a beautiful day outside, but today I'm going to be actually inside working on this Allis Chalmers D17 tractor. So this is a tractor that was made in 1959. It is a Series 1 D17. It is a gasoline engine in this tractor. And it does leak a little bit of oil. And typically in the past I've had trouble with the oil pan, wanting to leak a little bit around the oil pan. And I've had bolts come loose on there before, and I constantly have to check the tightness of the bolts on the oil pan. But I've developed a new oil leak, and it's up around the engine block itself. And you can you might not be able to tell it, but this whole side of the engine block over here is all black with oil. So I need to try to get the leaks fixed today in the tractor. I'm going to go ahead and change the oil while I'm at it. But before I get started, the first thing I want to do is I need to clean off all this oil that's on the outside of the engine, just get it all cleaned off. It'll make it easier, cleaner to work on, but when I'm done, it'll also tell me if I still have a leak afterwards, and I can maybe determine where it is if I still have a leak when I'm done. So go ahead and see if I can get all this oil off. So I wasn't sure exactly what to use to clean the engine of the tractor with. So I was looking in the store, and this is what I ended up buying. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but this is just Gunk brand. It's an engine cleaner, and it said it has citrus in it as well. I know that I always like the citrus hand cleaners. They always seem to do really well. Okay. So I did read the directions, and it said that I was supposed to spray this on the engine, a cold engine, and let it sit for 10 minutes. And then it said after 10 minutes, any heavy deposits to rub over those with a brush. And to me, the whole thing's heavy deposits. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this, I got a little brass brush here, and I'm just going to kind of scrub over the where it's thick on there and see if I can help loosen that stuff off. And then we'll take the garden hose and see if we can spray it down. Oh, oh, well, done for the brush. Well, I ended up breaking my brush. So I guess I'm not going to scrub the engine. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and take a garden hose and see how much of this we can wash off there with the hose. Well, the garden hose doesn't seem to be making much of a difference. It's only really cleaning the oil off where I already scrubbed with a brush, but it's not getting any of the other spots off, maybe just slightly. I mean, you can tell now that underneath all that black, there is an orange engine block under there. But so what I'm going to do now is I have a pressure washer, and it's actually stored in the other barn, and it's probably what I should have started with from the beginning. I should have just got out the pressure washer and hosed this whole engine down. So I'm going to go ahead and get that, and then hopefully, I'm pretty sure the pressure washer is going to do it, and we'll get this engine all clean and then start to fixing the oil leak, getting the oil changed. Well, so far I'm not getting off to a very good start here. So I've grabbed the pressure washer, and then I wanted to move the tractor outside, and I can't get it to start. And it actually wouldn't start for me the other night when I was putting these LED lights in. It wouldn't start either. And I thought maybe I'd flooded it last night or the other night, but today I tried starting it, did the same thing. So it rolled over and rolled over and rolled over and rolled over, and I couldn't get it to start. So I figure it's either the carburetor or it's the distributor. I'm not getting any spark. So it's either gas or the spark. At least that's what I'm thinking. So I took the air intake line off of the carburetor, and it just poured gasoline out of that air intake line. So I'm assuming as much gas that came out of there, the carburetor's messed up. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, try to clean the carburetor as best as I can without taking it too far apart. because I don't have a kit, because they do sell like gasket kits and different kits probably to rebuild this carburetor, and I don't have one. So I'm just going to try to take it off here and clean it up the best I can and put it back together. I've had a lot of luck doing that on small engines, just getting carburetor cleaner in there and just blowing everything out. Hopefully it'll work on the tractor. Well, I got the carburetor cleaned as well as I could, and then put back together and put on the tractor. So I didn't have any replacement parts or gaskets or anything to put in the carburetor. I'm not even 100% sure the carburetor is the problem, but I'm gonna go ahead and see if it'll start again. So I ended up putting a little spark tester on there. It's like a little adjustable spark gap. You should be able to see a spark appear here. I'm not seeing a spark come out, so I got something wrong with the ignition. So see what I can figure out. So I ended up getting the tractor finally to start after I messed with the distributor a little bit and cleaned on it, and not sure exactly what my problem was, but I did get the tractor to finally start and got it outside so I could finally pressure wash it. So I ran the tractor just long enough to back it here into the barn, and you can see there's already a leak dripping down. And what it's doing is dripping off of this tube. And where my leak is, it's going to be hard to show. My leak is right back here on this silver tube, and it's rubbing against this red. This is my throttle, basically. And there's a hole. There's a hole worn right through there. You can see that that tube has got a hole worn right through it, and the oil is leaking out of there. So that's one of my oil leaks, so I got to replace this piece of tubing. Ready for a splash. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and take the filter out. This filter is a little different than a normal filter on a car. It's got some different threads. I don't know if you can tell that. Looks more like a, I don't know what you want to say that is. It's just a really wide thread. It's not like a pipe thread. And then it has like a tube that actually slides right down the middle of that that's in the tractor. So this is actually a Fram oil filter is what this is. So here's the new oil filter. It's just it's a Fram C159. I can't find these anywhere. I got to order this online. And you can see that it actually does have like a rubber O-ring that fits in here. And it's just basically screws on as tight as you can get it with your hand. But the rubber gasket didn't come off the one that actually I just removed, so I need to see if I can dig that out of there before I put this new one in. Oh. Well, there's what the old one was. That's actually cork. That's a cork gasket. There it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and replace the piece of tubing that is worn through and leaking. So that piece of tubing goes from the bottom of the oil filter, and then it comes over and goes up to the top of the engine block, or the head of the engine block. And I'm going to take that off and see how it's put together. Hopefully, I bought a few pieces and parts. Hopefully I've got the right parts to be able to replace this. So what I have here to replace it with is, this is just some 3/16 brake line. This is that copper nickel brake line, and I measured this beforehand, so this is hopefully exactly the same size. And then all this is done is being put together with some compression fittings. So I've got some of these ferrules, and I should be able to put this back together. But what I'm going to do, instead of the way this ran, is it went behind that throttle piece. This time I'm going to run it in front of the throttle piece and then over the top of it. Hopefully there's not much room behind that linkage for this, and that's why it rubbed. So hopefully if I run it in front, I won't have to worry about this rubbing this next time. So when you buy these brake lines, they come with a couple fittings normally held captive on there, and then each end is already flared for a brake line fitting. But this tubing will work great for other things besides brake lines. So I'm just going to cut the flared ends off with a tubing cutter. And this copper nickel brake line is like super easy to bend. You can bend it by hand, no problem. And it shouldn't rust out on you. You can buy steel brake line too, but that always ends up rusting out over time. Alright, so we got those fittings off. But you can see, grab my piece here. So I'll hold it out. So we want it to be somewhere in here. So all I gotta do is just kind of hold that with my two thumbs, do a thumb bend. Okay. And there you go. It's already bent. It's not kinked or nothing like that. And I think what I ended up buying a 3/16 union. You won't be able to see this, but this 3/16 tubing union came with new nuts and new ferrules that are inside with the nuts. So I should be able to just slide one of these new nuts on there, and it's ready to go onto the tractor. So now all I gotta do is figure out the length of this other end, and I'll probably do this on the tractor. Because I may need to tweak it a little bit. You can see I don't quite match. But anyway, let's go over to the tractor and finish this up. All right, I think I can use that one. So I'll probably cut it right about there. So there's my new piece. So it should come out from the filter, go straight out, straight up, then go over the top of that throttle arm. That throttle arm will be right here, over the top of the throttle arm, back over it and into the head of the engine. So now let's go ahead and put my nut and compression ferrule on there, and then all I gotta do is slide the tubing into them. That one's in. That one's in. Okay. So there's our new tubing, and you can see it kind of comes out, and it goes in front of that throttle arm. So there's actually plenty of space there. I can fit I can actually fit my finger. I can actually fit my finger between the tube and the throttle arm now. So there's plenty of space. And it goes back over here to the bottom of the oil filter. So this project didn't actually go very well. I fought the tractor all day today. It didn't want to run. And so I cleaned out the carburetor. It still didn't want to run. I ended up kind of jacking with the distributor cap and testing for spark. I kind of played around with it. I finally ended up getting it to run by a miracle somehow. I'm not really sure why it started to run. I took it outside, got it all hosed off. It didn't want to start again. I finally did get it to start, but I throttled way back. Like I put it way down to idle and then it fired right up. So I don't know if like cleaning the carburetor that it's really getting a lot more fuel in there now or what, but as soon as time will tell, but putting the throttle all the way down, it actually started up that way. Typically I would always kind of throttle it up a little bit to start. So I don't know, this has been kind of a long day trying to get the oil changed in this tractor. So I'm going to go ahead, I think right now I'm just going to go ahead and put the plug back in the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing filled back up with oil. And then maybe we'll try to start it one more time and see if it works or not. I'm going to guess. All right, time for oil. So this older tractor, we're running non-detergent oil in. And you gotta kind of look for that because every oil out there nowadays has got detergent in it. All right, moment of truth. See if this thing will run. Well, I'm glad to finally get the oil leak on the tractor fixed. So the way we've routed that tubing now, it should be routed where it isn't gonna rub on anything, and hopefully that'll last a lot longer. And I'm glad to get the oil changed for the year, so don't have to worry about that for a while. And didn't see any other oil leaks. Right now I don't see any. Of course I didn't run it long enough to really see if it's gonna leak oil in other spots. It didn't really want to clean up. I mean, getting it clean was, I'll tell you, getting it clean was kind of a pain. I used that entire bottle of gunk on there and sprayed that down, and it still didn't act like it hardly touched that stuff. So if you guys got any suggestions on what a good engine degreaser is and what would have broke that down a lot easier so I could have sprayed all that old oil and grease and stuff off the tractor, let me know, because I wasn't real impressed with that gunk engine degreaser. I didn't think it was quite tough enough to be able to handle this job. So anyway, yeah, that was really tough trying to get that all cleaned off. It's still not entirely clean. I actually was getting to the point where the pressure washer was peeling off part of the paint instead of taking off the oil. That's how gunked on it was. So I think it's clean enough that I'll be able to tell when it does start to leak oil again, and then maybe I can find out where those leaks are and get those fixed as well. But it's really frustrating. It has been really frustrating sometimes owning an older tractor because it does not always start and it doesn't always run when you want it to. That is frustrating. So I know every time I come out here and I turn the key, I say like a little prayer and I hope that the tractor starts right up. And hopefully, I mean, I don't think I've got the money to go out and go buy a brand new tractor. So I think I'm gonna have to start sinking some money into this old one. Start replacing a few things and try to get it running a little bit better. But that's just what it is with an old tractor. If you're going to run an old tractor, you know it's not going to be 100% reliable and you're going to have to work on it. So, well, anyway guys, I think the sun is now down. It's dark outside, so I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, head back to the house and get me some supper. So, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you in the next video.